Hey folks, Nathan here. This week we've upgraded the Hydron to V0.2, adding 3 fins and a nose cone. It's been launched probably a good 15 to 20 times, and we've got some awesome footage of the launches to go through, as well as some fun failures that we experienced. First off though, we'll be looking at building the rocket. The first step was to get another 2-litre bottle, so we had to drink another 2 litres of soft drink, which was great. We want to cut around the top of the bottle here, just to get the curvy bit, which is going to make our nose cone, and we're going to attach that to the top of our other rocket. We then want to grab our nose cone and chuck it on the top of our Hydron rocket, and we want to get some masking tape and just attach it on there using that. So make sure it goes all the way around and sticks to that seam. You can see here we had to readjust it a little bit because it was going a bit too low. But through careful application, we can get a complete seal on that nose cone. And yeah. Sweet, so that's our nose cone attached. It looks pretty good. There's a little bit of room in there for electronics. So not quite as much as I thought we'd have originally, but that's okay. See how we go with it. Unfortunately, the video of the fin making process didn't turn out too good, but all we really did was draw some pins on cardboard, cut them out, and attach them to the rocket with super glue. And here we are, the finished Hydron V0.2 rocket. Starting at the top, we have our nose cone, which is just the top of another 2-litre bottle that we've cut off and attached with some masking tape. But it's nice and sturdy, so I reckon this one should hold on quite well. Next, we've got our 3 fins here. They're made out of some leftover cardboard that was laying around, and they may be a little bit on the small side, but it's our first shot actually making fins, and the best way to learn is to actually try them. They're attached with a lot of super glue, so I'm expecting these to fall off after the first flight, especially because the super glue that we're using says it's not for use with PET, and these are PET bottles. So yeah, probably going to be some unplanned disassembly there. Some of these also aren't on the straightest. We've got a bit of cardboard bend happening, and I think one of them is just straight up attached on a little bit of an angle with a bit of a curve here. So we're most likely going to see quite a bit of spinning out of this, but hopefully not any tumbling like we got with the first few flights. But if there is going to be a point of failure on this rocket, it's going to be the fins. And that's the new Hydron rocket. Let's take a look at how some of our launches went. We're ready for our first launch in 3, 2, 1. Oh shit! Well, that went a lot higher than the previous one. Definitely a much more upward trajectory. Fins didn't break, so I'm very happy about that. Let's get ready for launch number 2. Launching in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Amazing. Okay, sitting about 40 psi. Getting ready for our launch attempt number 3 in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We also managed to capture some beautiful high-speed footage. For our analysis, we'll start out by looking at the rocket flight itself. While it's definitely a lot more stable than the V0.1 was, we're still seeing quite a lot of tumble. Looking at the high-speed footage, we can see that the moment the rocket's no longer under thrust, it starts curving off to the side, and this was the same side every time. So I'm guessing that this is a wind-related issue again, and that it's a combination of the fins being too small and not being straight enough. So I'll be grabbing a material that's a little bit sturdier for the next set of fins and making them a bit bigger. Next up is the new pump we've got. It's a standard bike pump, but most importantly it has a pressure gauge on it, so we can tell just how much pressure we're putting into the rocket. Most of the rockets are being launched at a reading of around 40 psi. The relief valve on the launcher is meant to trigger at 50 psi, so I'm not sure if the valve is just triggering at a lower pressure or if the gauge on the pump isn't super accurate, but it's probably a combination of both. One thing that we didn't do before going out to the launch site, which we definitely should have, was actually connecting our pump to our launcher. Our first launch was a little under pressure because there was water leaking out of the connection between the pump and the launcher, so we had to do a little bit of extra work on site to tighten it and ensure that it was sturdy. After the second launch, we got this nailed down, and all our launches from then on were perfectly fine. One very unexpected thing that we learnt was that even water rockets can have O-ring failures. Towards the end of the day, the O-ring was starting to get a bit dry, and at one point when we put the rocket onto the launcher, we didn't realize that the O-ring had come out of its socket. This led to a depressurization event, causing the launch to be scrubbed as we had to wait for the rocket to fully depressurize before taking it off the pad and fixing the O-ring. Here's a fun video of that full process. Okay, we seem to have got ourselves a leak here. It looks like the O-ring has come off, so let's see if we can fix that up. Just going to wait for it to fully depressurize. Like that. And there you have it, that's our progress for this video. Our objectives were to have a more aerodynamically stable Hydron and to not have any more tumble, and while we were more aerodynamically stable, we definitely still had tumble, so next time we'll be working on that. Our next objective will once again be to have a perfectly straight rocket going up, which I'm hoping that we can do with some better fins, and we'll see how that goes. So that's all for this time. Catch you later.